It's hot as hell in here, and I don't even have it that hot, but usually it's a little cooler than this. I mean, I'm burning up. Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good night. How are you doing today, wherever you are in the world? Thank you for being here with me. Let's go ahead and get a message today. All right, we're going to do a main message. Hotter than hell. Give me a second. All right. Let's resume. As I cut the phone on, it's 11:11 on the dot. To prove it, what time is it?
The time is 11:11 a.m.
Yeah, sure is. All right, here's what we're going to talk about today. I went ahead and wrote it down. Oh, self-massages. Okay, I don't know if this is a real thing. I haven't looked it up, but I was like, what have I been doing the past couple of days? I've been massaging myself because my foot hurts. Like my left foot, it's my big toe right underneath the bottom. I think I talked about it in a video. But, and I've just been massaging it and rubbing castor oil in it, rubbing up my legs, my arms, my neck. I've been self-massaging, and it's amazing. Like, it's really intimate, and I don't mean sexually, guys. I mean, like, it's intimate. You feel like you're giving yourself a big hug, you know? It's just nice to love on yourself. Plus, it feels really good. I don't know. Either that or I'm just, the body I'm in is getting older, honey, and it needs to be massaged. It needs to be loved on. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that with you guys because I thought maybe it would be helpful for some of you. If you have any aches or pains, or you just want to love on yourself. Well, I guess you can love on yourself in many ways. But if you want to love on yourself by giving yourself massages, I would try it. It's been really therapeutic for me in an odd way. I guess it's not that odd, though, you know? I mean, after all, you are the one that's been with you longest. You know what I mean? You've been your longest best friend. You've been your most loyal lover. And also disloyal lover. You've been your best and your worst. You're all of it, encapsulated in one little being. So maybe take time anywhere. I mean, you could even do it at work. Just take a minute, you know, and rub on your arm, wherever, you know, whatever will make you feel good. And just picture yourself giving yourself a big hug. Picture yourself nurturing you, loving you, tucking you into bed, taking care of you when you're sick, holding your hair back when you're puking, you know, everything. Like, picture you being your own mom. Picture you being your own dad, your own parents, your own brothers, sisters, everything. And see if it works for you guys. Then come back and let me know, because yeah, it's been working for me. But anyway, yeah, so that's part of the message today. Self-love massages, I guess you could say. You are your own happy ending. Yeah, I know that's right. So, all right, what else was I going to talk about? We'll add them all together, all my signs. Oh, okay. So at 6:26 p.m. last night, I heard this and I wrote it down. We have nothing figured out, except that we have so much to figure out. So if you add, we have nothing to figure out, except that we have so much to figure out, with self-love massages, well, we get a very understandable existence that's relatable. All of us probably at some points in our life, whether we admit it on the outside or not, know that there's so much that we don't know. That we know nothing, in fact. And we have to uncover. You may have found it hard at times, maybe even right now, to be patient with yourself. Maybe you're tired of that word. Maybe that word makes you want to throw up. You know, maybe you're tired of being patient. You know, waiting on whatever you're waiting on. We're all waiting on something different or wanting something different. We all have our own reasons why we want these things and what we're waiting for. But I think this is more about being those things for yourself, first and foremost, being your best friend, being your own shoulder to lean on, being your own shoulder to cry on, your own therapist at times when you have to. Now, I'm not saying don't reach out to others. That's very important, you know, and to have communication at times with people on the outside of you, but it's very important, first and foremost, to make sure that we are aware here first, or whatever we're absorbing here could present to be problematic. So yeah, the patience thing, you know, I don't know why that's popping up again, but it's something to do with, like, you may be tired of being patient, you may be tired of whatever it is, just not having presented itself in your life yet, or long enough yet, something like that. Yeah, it's frustrating. Frustrated, you could be frustrated, you could be irritated, you could feel like your soul just wants to give up. Not even your 3D self, but that your soul at times wants to give up. And I don't mean you want to unalive yourself, but it's just like you go through times where you're like, you feel like an alien. Not a real alien, but you know what I mean? You feel like you don't fit, like a misfit. I'm hearing the Misfits. Isn't that like a Christmassy thing too? Something to do with misfits? You may feel like a misfit, and not in the like woe is me kind of way. You may like being a misfit. You may like being what people say is the black sheep. You may like being the wild one, or the one that, you know, you just don't have a real one way that you are. You know, you're not one dimensional. You have a whole lot in there, and you may like that because it's just who you are. So you like who you are, which is very important. It's not just about loving yourself as the love that you are. It's also about liking yourself too, you know. I used to not like myself at all. I was an awful individual. Like, my ego was so bad, and I was so just constantly reactive, constantly impulsive, very vengeful. Yeah, and it was all from a place of extreme inner torment, inner torture, trauma, and not knowing how to deal with it. Of course, these were younger years, but it's like, when you don't know how to deal with that, it's just a whole bunch of trapped energy, and it wells up inside a person, and either you take it out on yourself, or you take it out on other people, or you do all the above. And I, for one, was definitely like that. And so, like, loving on myself now in so many ways, not drinking, not smoking, not cutting myself, not throwing up, not starving myself. You know, it's like I'm in a different, I guess you could call it a different cycle in my life. It is very different because it's like I'm a newborn in this cycle. It's something new for me. I'm nurturing myself. One of the most profound Reiki treatments I ever had was with the owner, and she's been practicing for, I think, 30 something years. And I think maybe it was like my second Reiki treatment, but anyway, she got down here kind of close to my sacral chakra, and I was awake, you know, but I was kind of like very relaxed. And I had a vision of an old home, almost looks like a little house on the prairie, like in the middle of a field full of grass, trees, woods. This little rickety home was made out of like planks of wood, very small, very overgrown grass, and didn't have a driveway. It looked as if there were just dirt. It was dirt. I mean, it was very old. And I come out of this house, and it's me right now. I look the exact same. I'm not wearing the same thing. In fact, it looks very old, like a long time ago. And I come out of this house, my hair is kind of pulled back a little bit, and there's a little girl whom I know in my vision. I recognize her to be my daughter. Okay? But her back is turned to me. She is kind of sitting down on the ground. She's not sitting, she's like crouched, you know, where you put your feet are on the ground and you kind of lean down like a kid looking at a bug, you know? Well, she's bent down looking at something in the grass. I never know what it is. I go pick her up, she turns around, and it's me, like the little me. So I pick me up and put her on my hip, and I walk back in the house and close the door. And I started bawling my eyes out. I mean, of course, I stayed laying on the table. She wasn't done with me yet, but it was very emotional for me because I knew immediately what that meant. And I had never experienced anything like that before. It was so crazy and so profound. I mean, just in a vision, I had an awakening about myself. And a lot of the torment in my life that I've gone through, mostly all caused by myself, a lot of it is answering for things in the past, like past lives, times before even now. And one of them was I neglected myself. I don't know how many lifetimes I did that. I don't even know if we're here more than one. I honestly know nothing. I know nothing. But I'm a portal for everything. And I observe everything. And I think it's like showing back up in this lifetime to love me, to realize I am love, and to pick myself up every time I'm kind of like in the weeds, anytime I'm in the woods, anytime I'm in the wilderness and I feel alone, anytime I'm broken down and have nothing. I was in the middle of nowhere in that vision. There was nothing. It was completely desolate. I didn't even see animals. I mean, there was no transportation. I was barefoot, so very poor, but happy. And I had a happy little girl, and she was happy because I kept her safe, and I loved on her, and I held her, and I picked her up, and I provided shelter for her. Even if we didn't have a lot, even if we didn't even have a lot of support, because, like I said, in my vision, there was nothing. And I don't know. I think now it's translating to you don't have to continually punish yourself or think that you deserve to be punished by your former self, because that was a former you. And it's still very much part of you. Your former you is still you. You are all, and you are nothing. It's really beautiful. It's so simple, actually. We are all and we are nothing. And the reason that people, don't want people to live down things or want to harm people and things like that and tear them down, and it's because they also don't know how to pick themselves up off the ground and love the little infant inside of them. They don't even know that it exists. They've completely forgotten, and they have lost touch with where it all started. So they can only see that everything else is the problem, everything else must pay, but they don't see that they have a lot of their own stuff to pay, And it first starts with going within and addressing that, So some of you may be going through that. And if you haven't yet, you will in the near future, and it's a blessing, I was just thinking last night, I was like, you know what? Let me put the top on this. It's going to dry out, much like my love life. Thank you, Spirit. I was laying in my bed last night and just kind of like meditating, thinking, and I was thinking, no wonder. Like, what other reason could I constantly struggle? You know what I mean? Other than, like, yeah, I've chosen this path and I have a life path of having to do things like that, like suffer. It's just how I learn in this lifetime, unfortunately. And it's like, damn, did I ask for this? Why did I ask for this? So I was sitting with it last night and I'm like, do you remember that time that you had a very deep meeting with God and you told God what you wanted? Mm-hmm. And it had to do with your spiritual gifts being opened. Some of you guys may have done this too. Remember telling God that you wanted to open all your gifts, you wanted to, be more visionary. Some of you could have straight up asked God or whoever you believe in, you could have asked the universe for your vision to be opened. Well, let me tell you, that's what I did. Because I've always had a vision, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people may be like, oh, that's evil. And it's like, how is it evil? It's a part of you. It's literally a part of you. You know what I mean? It's a gift that you may not even know that you have unless you tap into it. And you don't have to tap into it. Not everybody should. Sometimes you wonder why you did. But you didn't really have a choice, some of you, because I didn't. When I was really young, I started having visions. That was actually the first thing that ever happened to me. And they would always come true. They would always end up happening. And my family would be like a little creeped out by it, Well, not a little. They were pretty creeped out by it. And then I think at the point where I reached young adulthood, I started to hear people's mind, like what their thoughts. Okay. And my mom can attest to this. She's one of them. She can get on video and attest to it. That I can't, like I said, I've already talked about this in the video though. I cannot make that happen. That's definitely not one of my strongest traits. But when it is, like when it does come through, it is very clear. I can literally hear people thinking in their head. And so a good example of this is one time my mom and me and my dad were at Cracker Barrel. It's a restaurant. Hold on, there's a loud vehicle. All right, so like I was saying, had to wait for the truck to pass. We were in the Cracker Barrel, and the lady that we went to church with worked there, and it was like my dad, me, and my mom sitting across from me. We were in a table, and she said, not out loud, she said it in her head. She was like, I wonder if she's going to come over here. Now, I don't know if I was more sensitive at the time because I was pregnant with my first daughter, because I heard her clear. I heard her like in her voice as if she was saying it. Anyway, so I was looking down and I was I was coloring one of the kid coloring, you know what I mean? The kid menu. I was sitting there coloring the kid menu, and so I wasn't even looking up at her. So I hear that, right? And I look up and I'm like, what'd you say? She was like, I didn't say anything. And I was like, yes, you did. I thought she was messing with me, guys. I was like, yeah, you did. She was like, no, I didn't say anything. I'm like, okay. Like, she could tell I was completely puzzled, and my dad was like, she didn't say anything. I've been sitting right here. She didn't say anything. And my mom goes, what do you think that I said? And I was like, is she going to come over here? And my mom was like, you should have seen the look on my mother's face. She was like, I did not say that, but I was thinking that. Because where my mom was sitting, she could see her. But where me and my dad were sitting, we were facing this way. We could not see the girl who we went to church with. And so, yeah, anyway, those type things. So some of you may have asked for certain gifts, like visions, or for the universe to, strengthen your abilities. But they do, right? They strengthen your abilities. And some of you, the way that they do that is by giving you really tough lessons. Oh, they're hell. And then when you get them, it's like the stronger your gifts get, the stronger the freaking lessons and the more painful they are, at least for me. And I mean, is it for you? Let me know. And so I was sitting there last night and I'm like, this is why you should be very specific when you ask for something from God, the universe, whoever you believe in. And here's why. Perfect example right here, because now I don't regret it. I'm glad I have my gifts, okay? But it's a very painful life. I would say a lot of people who have these gifts have also experienced a lot of excruciating pain, and it seems like it never ends. Suffer after suffer after suffer. It's a very interesting life, I'll say that. I'm sure some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so let's talk about why I'm talking about this. When I did combo, the videos are on my other channel. They may be on this channel too. Just look up Sativa Tarot combo. When I did frog medicine last year, I, when they open the gates, which is when they burn your skin and open the gates to put the frog medicine on, you set an intention, as you would with anything, as you would with ayahuasca, as you would with rituals, whatever. And one of my intentions were for the universe and God to open my gifts. I laugh because holy shit, like it's a real thing, you know? Some people are like really gifted spiritually and you don't know until, I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you've always had the, like, I feel like if somebody were to ask for something and it wasn't something that the universe or God, whoever they believe in, wanted for them, it wouldn't happen, right? You get what's meant for you. So clearly me having these abilities is definitely meant for me. It is me. But boy, is it a fucking bitch, because it's been hell. So anyway, when we did this, when I set that intention, my practitioner goes, she was like, oh, be careful. I was like, what do you mean? She said, I asked for the same thing in a ceremony, and boy, did I find out. I was like, well, I want to find out. That's all I gotta say. Now, like I said, I don't regret it. It's what I wanted. It's who I am. I wanted who I am revealed to me. It's just about wanting to uncover your true self, which is where you find your true power. Your true power is not looking out here and judging everybody else and trying to, avenge something. No, your true power is when you go in and when you ask to suffer. You don't know you're asking to suffer because you don't know what comes with it. You know what I mean? This is why they say never be jealous of someone, because you may be like, oh, I envy their life or the position that they're at right now, the rate at which they are, like whatever. This is why they say you should never do that, because you have no fucking clue what happened to them to get to that point. You know what I mean? That'd be like whatever level you're at right now. Okay? Let's say it's a pretty high level, whatever that is, in your particular life path. And then you have somebody come and try to tear you down, right? You may learn things from it. You're gonna have that's more suffering, right? But they're gonna get hit with a fuckload of spiritual karma, especially if you have a spiritual path. You know what I mean? Like for people who have a spiritual path, like you're very gifted. You literally have gifts. I mean, there are people who can literally move things. I can bend fire. There are people who can literally push. I mean, I think we all can do it, really, maybe. I guess I shouldn't say that. Maybe we all can't, but I would imagine that we can all do like some kind of spiritual gift. Because everybody has an intuition. Everybody's been able to walk in a building or go to a place and be like, oh, something feels off, you know? Doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your age, your race, we can all have that gut feeling, that instinct. But, you could be at a certain level and a lot of your suffering and how you elevate is by people trying to tear you down. And you know what I mean? It's like, but they're gonna get it way worse, okay? So just know that, okay? And in the meantime, while you wait on more suffering, because it's gonna happen, just get ready for it. You're getting what you asked for. You're getting, we're saying like, you get your wish, you get your dream come true, exactly what you want. Yeah, and you're gonna love it because it's what you asked for. But you're not gonna love it until you lay on your bed or take a moment, figuratively speaking, take a moment to kind of have an epiphany and allow the universe to reveal to you that the reason you're going through so much is because you fucking asked for it. You asked for it. You asked for it without knowing you were asking for it. You asked for a specific ending, outcome, but you didn't know what it took to get there. You didn't ask for that before you asked. You know what I mean? So it's almost like this, you can't be upset for too long. You can be upset. They understand. This is part of your lesson. Part of another lesson for some of us is before we ask for something, know what it takes to get there, you know? Before we envy and are jealous of something or someone, before we feel that someone needs to pay, and we, you know, what and why is this person at that spot in their life right now? Because I definitely don't want to have to get the backlash from that, you know? So maybe this is kind of also alluding to the fact that maybe there's some people who are going to be trying you in the near future. But what's new, honey? What's new? Like I said, we've asked for it. And it's not like, oh, allow people to abuse you. You don't have to, especially if you've got gifts, okay? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to put people in jars. You don't have to hex people. You don't have to even protect yourself from people. And people will be like, no, that's not true. Yes, you do. You don't have to do any special thing or put any energy out or do all this, because there's energy fucking everywhere. Your energy, everything is energy. All that you have to do is be present in yourself, self-contained, and you can see everything coming. You can see it, you can feel it, you're aware, and there's no outrunning it. There's no outrunning it. You can't smudge it away. You asked to come here. You asked to experience these things. You've asked for specific things since being here. And it's like, so now you're going to get it. It's not about wiping it away. It's about taking it the fuck on and being one with all of it. It is what takes us to the next level. It just wants to be observed by you. It just wants to be witnessed, recognized, but there's no moving it or banishing it or getting rid of it, because it's part of what's going to teach you. It's the teacher, and you're the student. We're always the student, and we are also the teacher. We're all of it. So I'm sitting here like, well, this is just fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just fucked up. It's just nonstop. But it's like, it's almost like a knock on the head from the universe. Like, will you just shut your bitchin'? Shut your fucking bitchin'. Seriously. Do you want us to shut your gifts off? Okay? Bitch. You know what I'm saying? You wanted this. You don't even know where we're going to take you. We're obviously taking you somewhere great. But it's not going to be without trials and tribulations. It's like almost like the idea of when somebody gives you something, as opposed to when you work for it. You know? None of you are being given shit. You've had to suffer for it, although other people think that you haven't, and they think that you deserve more suffering. They're going to try to make sure of it, and you know that. You know it, you're aware. You smell it. You smell it, you sense it, but you can't stop it. You can't stop it, but you can observe it. And trust me, their energy's working in your favor. And they work more in our favor when we surrender to it, when we understand that we're getting what we asked for, and we kind of just stay present in that energy and observe, instead of be ready to defend and banish and get rid of and control. It's like, you can't control shit, honey. You can try to control, and it's going to hit you even fucking harder. And it'll come from the back. It'll come from the back. There's no protection. It's just like think about it. I'm talking about spiritually, but we could talk about the actual earth that we're in. Well, at least let's talk about America. Literally everything, allegedly, is poisoned. I'm talking everything from your house cleaning supplies, from your laundry detergents, from the soaps we put on our body, from the food, clearly, from what we breathe, the air, the lights, okay, the microwaves. I mean, literally, everything is freaking, it's poisoned, allegedly. And so, what are you going to banish? What are you going to hex? Everything comes back to you. So it's like, you want to put that energy out, and then what happens? You're getting poisoned by your food. You're getting poisoned by the microwave in your kitchen. You got somebody in a room and they're cooking up something, or they're paying other people to do it to harm someone. Could be somebody doing this to harm you, or they've already done it several times, constantly doing it. Come back to watch your channel, watch your Facebook, watch your social media just to see if it's worked yet. And it's like, do you have any clue that all of your karma is hitting you right now? You're being poisoned by your entire environment, allegedly. It's being immediately returned to you, and no amount of clearing is going to help it. We are surrounded. We are one with all, okay? And it just hit me last night. I'm not even shitting you. That's the message today. It's a mixture of me. It's a mixture of you, because we're connected. Woo-hoo! So laugh in the suffering, cry in the suffering, scream in the suffering, rejoice in the suffering, like whatever you got to do, because this life's about suffering, especially if you want to get to where you're going. If you want to get what you've asked for, you ain't going to get what you've asked for without getting what it takes to get there. And then it'll be longer until you receive what you want, when you don't realize that you're just getting what you asked for. Because, we come from a victim mentality, like, okay, I'm ready for this period to be over now. No more suffering for me. And the universe is like, are you making the rules? Honey, how can you make the rules when you're completely unaware of all the different sides of you? And that's everyone. Everyone on this freaking planet has no idea of certain aspects of themselves. And it would take certain lessons to bring it up and bring it out. Like, it's all easy for us to give advice and to help other people and this and that. But honestly, like, there's so much shit that I do not know. I know nothing. I know nothing. Think about all the people who've lived completely different lives than me, of things that I've never experienced. How could I possibly understand their situation if I've never fucking went through it? Yeah, how can I understand? How can your naysayers understand what it took for you to get where you're at, or to try to tear you down or whatever, when they don't have any fucking clue what the hell you've gone through, what you're going through to be where you're at? They will learn lessons from trying to get you to learn lessons. It's not their job. You're learning them. Trust me. We're all learning them. We're all allegedly being poisoned right now, and you all fucking know it. You know it. It's like we are all in a melting pot of suffering and poison. Everything is poison. And then you have some people who say, but you have to just find the light. And it's like, you can't really appreciate the light, or even really get to true light. Some people think they're in the light, but they haven't even gone through real darkness. What light? There's different levels to light. Like a mood light. You may be at this level of light. I'm trying to get to where I blind people. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on the level of light that you're at. Like, to me, a good example of somebody with a high light level would be my mentor, Muji Baba. To me, would be a high level light being, has reached a high level. Ram Dass, Rumi, things like that. And so, you have people who think that it's just kind of, focus on the positive, but it's like, you can't really appreciate that until you realize why you're experiencing what you're experiencing now. You know what I mean? Because it's just false light in that sense. It's just a dim light that could easily burn out. You know what I mean? It's not gonna, it's like, you know how everybody has a light on their cell phone? Most of them have a level of lightness. You can have it dimmer and lighter. That's like the spiritual elevation I'm talking about here. It's like, you have people that are elevating, and those people may be like, well, I don't like that your light shines brighter than mine, so I'm gonna try to swipe you down, I'm gonna try to knock you down. And it's like, unless you're the operator, you can't really do that. You don't really have control over me. You can try to manipulate the energy, but you're being poisoned in your environment right now. What you're putting out, you're immediately getting back. Everything you're breathing in your home, even if you pay someone to do it, it's all coming right back to you. Imagine the shampoo you washed your hair with, poison. The food you ate this morning causes cancer. And you're over there hexing somebody. Not good. I've done it before too. This is why I know. This is why I say don't do it. And then you got people who want to knock you down, want to go against you. And then because you say it, it makes them want to do it even more. Prove you wrong. But my ancestors, and it's like, well, ancestors aren't always right. Okay? My ancestors are in the room right fucking now. I have how many containers of grave dirt over there? Okay? I used to be very into dark magic. You guys know that. My family comes from it. My bloodline. So I started off that way. In fact, I've told you guys before, I'm better at it because I have a lot of rage inside of me. I have a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But what is real true power is knowing that you could do a lot of damage and not doing it. You know what I mean? You don't have to, because it's coming right back to them. Observe whatever they bring to your table, be it hate, be it slander. Observe it. Observe it. Do what you gotta do with no intention of harm returned. But do what you gotta do. Learn your lesson, suffer, elevate, and get brighter. Whilst they be even more mad that that's happening for you. All while suffering even more for trying to control your level of brightness. Does that make sense? We've all done it. I did it. I used to do it. I used to be like, I'm going to get everyone back that ever harmed me, ever hurt me, ever, you know what I mean? What did that do? Or I'm going to be the punisher. Like, why? You know what I mean? I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my fucking time. Or I've even done, spent so much money, put myself in debt because I believed I had to go buy all these things to protect myself. Like, bitch, I am my protection. The fuck? I am my protection, I'm protection here. And it's like going to therapy. Nobody's going to go to therapy for you. You got to go to therapy yourself. You're not going to learn shit about yourself by focusing on other people. And some of you, like I said, going back to the beginning, it's suffering after suffering after suffering. But if you could sit back and be like, all right, I've asked for this. I really have, Let's say this. You do what you want. You have the ability and you should do what you want. I'll speak from an I place only. This is what I've had to do. And it's proven to be profitable. And since then, I continue to self-love, massage myself, treat myself well, continue to overcome weaknesses every day. It's like baby steps. It's like really, I've had to take my time with myself, be patient, nurture the little girl inside of me and love her. I've had to be my own lover. I've had to be my own caregiver, everything. You know what I mean? And I'm having to do it still, and I'll have to do it until the day that I leave this body. And I have many forces that have tried to rip me down that are doing it currently and will continue in different people, different ways, different things. And all of you have and will too. It's part of the process. And your ability to self-reflect is what's going to be your protection. It's going to be your protection and your key to your gifts being unlocked or whatever you've asked for. It's your key. Your key is your self-reflection. And then during that process, because self-reflecting is hard, you're going to suffer. It's going to be a very emotional train wreck. That's when you self-love. That's when you, if you're crying, who gives a shit? Cry, let it out. Snot all over yourself. Love yourself and, nurture yourself through it. If you got to put a rag on your head and a little Vicks on your chest, even if you're not sick, it's just the action, the intention of taking care of you. Do it. All whilst you're breaking down from learning your lessons and suffering from other people trying to inflict shit on you when they feel that you need it because they don't understand what took you to get, to where you are today. Very jealous and can't reflect on themselves. So they're getting a shit ton of backlash from the universe, and you're going to get yours too. But because you're willing to address yourself and sit, why did this happen? What did I learn from it? What can I learn from it? And how can I use it to benefit where I'm going next? I mean, hey, you know, you just keep elevating. And that's the message today. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you're going to remember to do this every time, but it's just something I figured out last night. That's it. All right, guys. I love you so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you later.